alternates in a specified rhythm. Okay? You're going to see today, we're going to talk about the sonnet form. And because English is very different than the Italian language, the rhyme scheme and the way the Petrarchan or the Italian sonnet is set up is even different than the Shakespearean or the English sonnet because of the language variation, right? And even back in the day of epic poetry, meter took on a different definition or meaning. More about that in a little bit. But for now, let's write down meter is the rhythm of syllables in a line. Last year with Miss Watson, I'm sure you did some of this. Da 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 da. Right? That is the most basic way of you are engaging in the process of scansion. We are going to take it a step further in English too, and I'm going to open you up to the actual skill, and you can apply it to different types of poetry and different types of meter so that you're not just stuck on iambic pentameter. Okay? Can I get a thumbs up if everybody's okay with this definition? Dancing. All right, I'm also going to put it up on the Google Classroom. Okay. So I want to take another look at what, yes, I'm going to show you a visual form of what meter is to kind of refresh our memories. Oh. Let's not practice. Just kidding. All right.
Meter in poetry, a la Schmo. All right, so if we told you to watch out for iambs, trochees, spondies, anapests, and dactyls, you might cover your head with your hands and run screaming for the nearest shelter, hoping against hope that none of them are hungry. But in fact, these fantastic five are nothing more than types of poetic feet. And those feet? Well, they help add rhythm and meter to a line of poetry. Oh yeah, it's not just jazz musicians who need to lay down a funky beat. Poetry is big on beauty and ideas and feelings, sure, but in many cases it also relies on meter to evoke a certain response from the reader. See how that rhymes?
Oh, snap!
During poetry's humble beginnings, meter was introduced not so much to make poems sing-songy, but to simply help remember the dang things.
You live briefly when make mammoth angry.
Which is easier to remember, what you need to get at a grocery store? A list like this? Or a poem like this? The milk is gone and yogurt too. I need some Dawn and a new shampoo. We're low on rye, the eggs are out. Could use some pie and sauerkraut. Catchy, no? It's not just because the poem rhymes, it's because there is a natural flow, a rhythm to the words. Let's take a look at a version of our shopping poem that is lacking in rhythm. The milk is gone, and somebody polished off the last of the yogurt too. I need to get some Dawn and shampoo. We're running low on our rye. The eggs were eaten this morning, and so they're just about out. Since we don't have any dessert on hand, it would be nice to stock up on pie, and we should also probably get sauerkraut. It still rhymes, but like, yikes. Probably not something you'd see come out of a poet laureate. Meter is absent in free verse poetry, but there is still rhythm. Not every line needs to have a certain number of syllables, and you can switch up where you stress certain words. But even free verse makes you feel as if there is some kind of music infused into the language. Try playing around with meter yourself and see what happens. If all else fails, at least you won't run out of sauerkraut.
All right, so that is what meter is. But what I want you to take away from that is that just like musicians, again, I'm going to continue this connection with music because for me, poetry and music are so closely intertwined. So go with me. Just like a musician puts texture and rhythm into their music with beats, percussion instruments, whatever it is, poets also add rhythm and texture to their poems by using what we call meter or metrical feet. Metrical feet, in the case of poetry, is going to be sort of the instrument or the number of times you hit the drum per line. Does that make sense? So what I want you to do is I want you to create a chart like this in your notes, and I want you to write these down. Okay, I want you to write these down because these are what we call the metrical feet that poets use to create this rhythm and texture in their poetry. And what I'm going to teach you today is how these, right? These, how we measure those in a line of poetry or verse using the process of scansion. So you can already see the very first one. Jalen, please write this down in your notes. The very first one, the iamb, what does that remind you of? Sonnet, right? Iambic pentameter. Iambic pentameter. The iamb foot, right? These are all feet. Again, we're going to get into this a little bit deeper, but I'm going to go slowly and one step at a time so it makes sense. The iamb foot shows up in a sonnet, the Shakespearean sonnet line. Each line has 5 iamb feet. That's where the pentameter comes from. Oh, is it making sense a little bit? Probably not, but we're going to get there. Okay? So scansion is the action of scanning a line of verse to determine the poem's rhythm. Okay? And when we scan a line of verse, these are the metrical feet that we're looking for. In addition to how many of them there are, that's how we determine its meter. That's how we determine if it's dactylic hexameter, or iambic pentameter, or iambic tetrameter, or trocadent tetrameter. Holy moly, Miss Moran, this is crazy. Do your brains hurt yet? We're going to get there, okay? We're going to get there. So please write down the definition of scansion also in your notes. It's on the board. And I've got another fun video for us to watch to really kind of dispel the craziness of what scansion actually